Yuan Shao, courtesy name Ben Shou, emerged from the illustrious Yuan clan of Runan, a lineage steeped in Han Dynasty power. He carried the weight of noble blood into an era of chaos and rallied men by wielding his family's prestige from the ashes of Luoyang to his domination over the north. At his peak, he commanded armies vast enough to challenge the realm, his banners a symbol of undying Yuan ambition. The records of the Three Kingdoms mark him as a man of stature undone by indecision, a titan of the north who reached for the throne only to grasp disaster. Yuan Shao came into the world around 154, born into the prestigious Yuan clan of Runan, a family with a storied legacy of dominance. For over 4 generations, the Yuans had produced heavyweights who claimed the lofty rank of the Three Excellencies, their name synonymous with power since the 1st century. Yuan Shao's father, Yuan Feng, didn't reach those heights, serving instead as a senior official alongside his brother, Yuan Wei. Yuan Shao carried himself with a stern, striking demeanour, and respected men of talent regardless of their background. In this way, he was welcomed by many friends since his childhood, including Cao Cao and Zhang Miao. Yuan Shao's mother sparked a scandal that sent his half-brother Yuan Shu's blood boiling, driving a wedge between the two that never healed. She started as a lowly servant in Yuan Feng's household, but with no male heirs in sight, her status soared to concubine the moment Yuan Shao was born. Yuan Shu emerged from a different concubine, one draped in a higher rank than Shao's mother, yet Shao still benefited from the greater share of privileges. Yuan Shao's adoption, alongside his mother's elevation, would have infuriated Yuan Shu, as he could not become the highest ranked male of his generation. The partisan prohibitions unleashed a whirlwind of chaos, 2 brutal clashes where Confucian scholars locked horns with the swelling might of imperial eunuchs and their university cronies. In Luoyang, the crackdown was merciless. Partisans faced prison, the chopping block, or the stripping of their rights. Yet among the storm, a shadowy underground network cloaked in mystery spirited many off to safety. Only later did the mask slip, revealing heavyweights like Kong Rong and Yuan Shao among the secret saviors, their names echoing through the turmoil. In his younger years, Yuan Shao threw himself into the fray, pulling partisans back from the brink of death or other grim fates with grit and cunning. One of those he saved, He Yong, was banished to Runan, where the two of them forged a tight bond. The daring soul, He Yong, would slip into Luoyang under the radar, huddling with Yuan Shao to hatch plans for their allies. The destitute were to be lifted up with riches, whilst those rotting in the cells would find champions in the courts. Yuan Shao and He Yong fought for justice with every lawful move they could muster. Once Yuan Shao stepped into civil service, he became the right-hand man to General-in-Chief He Jin, earning deep trust. When Emperor Ling died in 189, He Jin and Yuan Shao plotted to crush the eunuch faction, but Empress Dowager He threw a wrench into their plans with her fierce opposition. Undeterred, He Jin called in Dongzhuo to lead troops into the capital and flex some muscle, but the eunuchs became fearful and wanted to eliminate He Jin first. They lured him to court, but Yuan Shao saw through the trap a mile away, urgently warning his boss to ditch the meeting and strike against them instead. He Jin brushed off the advice with 3 stubborn refusals, leaving Yuan Shao and Yuan Shu no choice but to rally 200 crack troops and stake out the palace gates. Inside, the ambush hit hard, and He Jin's severed head sailed over the wall as a grisly taunt. His angry loyalists, Wu Kuang, Yuan Shao and Yuan Shu, set fire to the palace and charged in under orders to indiscriminately slaughter everyone who looked like a eunuch, meaning those with no facial hair. The women were spared, but it became so extreme for the young men that they presented their genitals to avoid being mistaken for eunuchs. Over 2,000 people died in the attack, yet the eunuchs snatched the Empress Dowager and the Emperor as hostages, then fled. This incident created a power vacuum for Dongzhuo, who swooped in, plucking the Emperor and Prince from the chaos like a hawk on the hunt. When he pitched his bold scheme to swap Emperor Shao for Emperor Xian, Yuan Shao pushed back hard, and their once solid alliance crumbled into dust. Yuan Shao didn't stick around to argue though, and fled through the gates of Luoyang to Ji province, while Dongzhuo was considering sending troops after him. Meanwhile, inside the daily grind of court, Shou Bi, Wu Xiong and He Yong stepped up, throwing their weight behind Yuan Shao from the shadows. With sly words and perseverance, they persuaded Dongzhuo to ease off, nudging him with 3 calculated pleas. In the end, Dongzhuo caved, granting Yuan Shao the title of Administrator of Bohai Commandery, a handsome bribe meant to smooth the rift. Despite this, Yuan Shao became openly hostile towards Dongzhuo by early 190 by rallying a coalition of regional warlords and commanders ready to topple the tyrant. From the east came Cao Tao, Yuan Shu, Han Fu, Zhang Miao and Bao Xin, while Yuan Shao declared himself general of chariots and cavalry. He pitched camp at Heinei, eyeing a fort along the Yellow River just north of Luoyang, but Dongzhuo hit back hard by slaughtering every Yuan clan member still trapped inside the city. He then dispatched messengers to bully the regional officials into standing down. Most of Yuan Shao's crew heeded his command and ignored the threats, chopping down every emissary. Sun Jian led the coalition's vanguard to smash into Dongzhuo's forces, driving them back until they ditched Luoyang for Chang'an. When Sun Jian and Cao Tao pushed to chase the fleeing enemy, Yuan Shao and most others drew their lines at Luoyang. Sun Jian got orders to link up with Yuan Shu, leaving Cao Tao to charge after Dongzhuo solo, only to get hammered by Xu Rong in a bruising defeat. Meanwhile, Yuan Shao and Han Fu had been plotting to establish imperial legitimacy by declaring Liu Yi as the new emperor. Liu Yi himself rejected the idea, believing it to be faithless towards Emperor Xian, but the scene of the ruined capital soon came into their eyes. Upon seeing this, the disunited leaders realized the Han Dynasty was coming to an end and started strengthening their own individual bases. People from across the land flocked to Yuan Shao's banner, swelling his ranks as he tightened his grip on power, though Bohai's pitiful resources couldn't sustain his growing army. Pang Ji suggested to form a secret alliance with Gongsun Zan and incite him to attack Han Fu's Ji province. With Gongsun Zan's attack looming, Han Fu's nerves shattered. Yuan Shao's smooth-talking lobbyists, Gao Gan and Sun Chen, pounced, convincing the rattled governor to hand over Ji. But Gongsun Zan wasn't thrilled with watching Yuan Shao morph into a warlord kingpin from Yi, Ji's beating heart. To choke Yuan Shu's reach and secure his flanks, Yuan Shao named his loyal follower Zhou Yu as inspector of Yu province, blindsiding Yang Cheng with a strike from a supposed ally, a ruthless flex of his authority. Sun Jian, reeling from the betrayal, sighed in disgust. Together, we rallied troops of righteousness with the purpose of saving the nation. The rebels and bandits are on the brink of destruction, yet the people act like this? With whom can I work with? Yuan Shu answered by forging an alliance with Gongsun Zan and Dao Xian, while ordering Sun Jian to fight against the enemy. Gongsun Yue and his horsemen were to accompany Sun Jian in the battle to retake Yangcheng, but Yue was killed by a stray arrow. The bloody mess left Yuan Shao staggering, officers lost, gains scorched, but his ambition didn't waver, even as Gongsun Zan blamed him for Yue's death. Yuan Shao sent many gestures to patch things up, but Gongsun Zan rejected all of them, blind to how each calculated alliance, proxy, and territorial grab had cemented Yuan Shao's rise to power. The Battle of Yangcheng was the first move in the struggle between the two Yuans, and marked the beginning of a new stage in the confusion of wars that brought about the end of the Han Dynasty. To focus on his conflicts against Gongsun Zan, Yuan Shao struck a shrewd alliance with Liu Biao, governor of Jing province, planting a thorn in Yuan Shu's southern flank to keep his rival off balance. At the Battle of Jiqiao, he defeated Gongsun Zan's horsemen with massed crossbowmen. His fierce general, Chu Yi, led the elite, first to ascend troops, whose massed crossbowmen tore through Gongsun Zan's vaunted cavalry. Chu Yi's triumph swelled Yuan Shao's domain, but his arrogance irked the warlord, who later executed him, a costly blunder. While the Yuan domain swelled, the Han imperial court issued a ceasefire between the warlords, so Yuan Shao returned to Yi, where he pivoted west to tackle the Heishan bandits, a lawless scourge raiding his borders. Calling on the fearsome Lu Bu, a mercenary titan with a blade as wild as his temper, Yuan Shao's forces battered the bandits back to their mountain lairs. Though the campaign chewed through his ranks, the threat produced by the bandits was drastically reduced, while solidifying Yuan Shao as a warlord carving order from the Han's dying regime. Yuan Shao's next move was warned against by Zhu Xu, who stated it could sow the seeds for future trouble. Ignoring him, Yuan Shao sent his firstborn, Yuan Tan, to govern Qing province. Brilliant advisor Dian Feng echoed Zhu Xu's caution, predicting family strife, but Yuan Shao waved them off. For the next few years, Yuan Shao achieved considerable success in consolidating his domain. At the same time, Yuan Tan also found great success in expanding out from Qing province, driving out Gongsun Zan's general Dian Kai in 193 and defeating the Chancellor of Beihai Kong Rong in 196. By 198, Yuan Shao turned his war machine north, encircling Gongsun Zan's dwindling forces at Yijing. A year later, he shattered his old foe completely. After establishing an alliance with the Wuhuan tribes on the northern frontier, Yuan Shao turned his attention towards Cao Cao, who had consolidated his own power base to the south of the Yellow River. The two titans braced for a showdown, trading early blows at Liang, a key river crossing in late 199. Cao Cao dug in at Guandu, fortifying his line, but Liu Bei's defection in Shou province in early 200 cracked his northern front wide open. Dian Feng, Yuan Shao's sharp-eyed strategist, begged him to seize the moment and charge, but Yuan Shao refused a full assault, opting instead to harass Cao Cao with small raiding parties. Cao Cao's general, Ye Jin, swatted these detachments aside, blunting Yuan Shao's probing strikes. By mid-200, Yuan Shao roared into all-out war, tasking his scribe Chen Lin to pay a blistering manifesto, damning Cao Cao as a traitor. Chen Lin stirred the army of 100,000 veterans, backed by a swarm of raw recruits. With banners held high, they marched towards Liang, dwarfing Cao Cao's lean, cavalry-heavy force. Yuan Shao's top generals, Yan Liang and Wen Chao, led the vanguard, but disaster struck. Guan Yu, under Cao Cao, slew Yan Liang at Bomar, and Wen Chao fell at Yanjin, scattering Yuan Shao's advance. On several occasions, Cao Cao thought about giving up Guandu to the seemingly never-ending enemy army, but advisors like Chun Ye encouraged him to hold. As Yuan Shao's armies marched forward, Cao Cao's raiders torched his supply depot until Wu Chao's inferno sent morale crashing. Chu Yu's betrayal was sparked by a family arrest, possibly ordered by the rigid advisor Shen Pi. This gutted Yuan Shao's plans. Amongst the chaos, the generals Zhang He and Gao Lan also flipped to Cao Cao's side, and the defection snowballed. With his command fraying, Yuan Shao fled back north across the Yellow River with a ragged band of just a few hundred diehards, his grand army in tatters. Yuan Shao's first major defeat was also a decisive one. After this, he lost the advantage over Cao Cao and never regained it. He was defeated by Cao Cao once more at the Battle of Canting in 201, which led to the loss of several important territories in Ji province. From Canting, Yuan Shao was able to reorganize his defeated armies and settle the rising rebellions within his domain. With order restored, he looked to instate an heir to the Yuan clan from his three sons, Yuan Tan, Yuan Shi, and Yuan Shang. His wife, Lady Liu, pushed for Yuan Shang, her son, as she was swayed by his good looks, while Yuan Tan's successes in Qing province clashed with her favour. Advised by Shen Pi, Lady Liu deepened the rift, alienating Yuan Tan, and Yuan Shao could not come to a decision. Yuan Tan and Yuan Shang were his favoured choices towards the end, with Yuan Shang coming out on top because of his good looks. Yuan Shao still couldn't decide before his death on June 28, 202, leaving his domain contested. True to Zhu Shu's warning, chaos erupted. Dian Feng was imprisoned after Guandu for his unheeded pleas, but laughed bitterly as Guodu's lies led to his own execution. Zhu Shu was captured after their defeat, but refused Cao Cao's offer, dying loyal. Shen Pi, backing Yuan Shang with Lady Liu, fortified Yi until Cao Cao took it in 204 and executed him for his defiance. When Cao entered the city in 204, he wept bitterly for his old friend in front of his followers, giving each member of Yuan Shao's family numerous gifts and a pension. Cao Cao went on to exploit the internal turmoil within the Yuan family to his advantage and completely eliminated them by 207. The Yuan faction's talent, Chu Yi's lost valour, Chu Yu's treachery, and Chen Lin's surrendered pen all faded into Cao Cao's shadow.